Hello guys, welcome back to another Lumby trading video. In this one we're going to be doing stock analysis on TLRY, which is Tilray. Firstly, just want to say a big thanks for the support on yesterday's video on STC, and our analysis has worked out instantly. We did say it would come to 670, then most likely get a large pullback. Since then we've pulled back 16%. So that worked out quite well. Now we'll go on to Tilray and see where we are likely to see this. The reason I'm doing it is because it's one of the larger gappers down today, being down around 4%, or not gappers, sorry, just down 4% today. And so firstly, we're looking at, is there any gaps to be filled on the daily? This is one that still kind of stood out, but as you can see, basically just filled before doing a strong uptrend, and it doesn't really look like there's any gaps to be filled as of now. They've all seemed to be filled along the way. So we aren't going to have any gaps to be looking at for, so we're going to have to kind of go more just off standard deviations and where that will take us. So looking at, firstly we'll go over the 4 hour. We can see we are still kind of near the statistical mean. Statistical means at around $14, and right now we're around 12. However, if we come down to 712, that would be our kind of first low risk buy entry, at least on the 4 hour. And when the stock would start being considered a good buy. Now going on to the daily, what we can actually see is we've recently hit into the first deviation but haven't yet got a bounce. So our first deviation was at around 1240, and as you can see, since then we have kind of pulled back down to around 1175, and in a percentage form that's around 5%, so it has broken through quite far and is closing below it. So what that can indicate is that we will maybe continue downwards before rebounding up. Or what could also happen, as you can kind of see it may be starting to form on the 4 hour, is that we may pull back to this 1240 kind of just to tap it, and then it looks like we'll probably actually continue downwards. Reason I say it looks like we're going to continue downwards is not only are we having a red streak, which isn't really uncommon right now, because if we go over to SPY, which is the S&P 500 index, we are kind of getting that same continuous red days right now. So it's not untypical to see that, because it's kind of just reacting with the market, but it's important to keep an eye on because it has closed below this deviation, and when the stocks do that without a bounce, it usually does show that the momentum downwards is quite strong. And as you can see kind of on RSI, we are around 30, so that is also showing that momentum to the downside is strong, so it wouldn't be unlikely to continue down. So obviously our kind of next buy area would be at 740, and that's quite a far way away. So where can we see maybe temporary bounces before it comes down to that kind of level? And these levels would be at both 1050 and 860. Reason for that is those are half deviation, so most likely won't be reversal points, but will most likely provide at least a small bounce. So again, what we could see is obviously we've broken through this first deviation on the daily. We could come down to this 1050, get a bounce off it, come and tap this 1240 before continuing down. However, if for some reason we do end up just reversing now, or any time in the near future, what are our targets to the upside? So not so much a target, but a level to keep an eye on will be this 1385, because that is the statistical mean on the 4 hour. So that will basically mean when Tilray comes into here, we want a kind of close above it. With high volume would be ideal, and if we can do that, it would most likely signal that the trend would continue upwards. What you could also see is that it will come into this mid-way deviation, or statistical mean should I say, with either low volume or a red candle, and if that happens, we would most likely not be breaking through, at least until we retest it. So that would be that key level to kind of look out for if an uptrend will kind of start. If we do go into an uptrend, what targets do we see? $20 is an achievable target, and then 27.50, which is one I actually prefer the look of, for the main reason being that the first deviation on the daily and the second deviation on the 4 hour match up, so this would be likely a key area if we can get back up to here, because if we come up to here, we would get either a strong pullback, or that would most likely be a strong reversal point, just because the two deviations are lining up. However, the only thing you've got to keep an eye on with Tilray, especially when using standard deviation, is obviously we had this large pump over here, and that kind of does screw up the standard deviations a bit, because obviously the data widens out so much that it kind of just makes the deviation so wide apart, which is kind of hard now the momentum and volatility has slowed down on Tilray. It's more unlikely that it can do these large swings to the $20 and the $27. So that's also a thing to be looking out for. So personally, how I would be trading Tilray would be with actually smaller moves. So by that I would mean, let's say this 714, I'd be looking just to get a small move off that, maybe up to the 864. And even that, I mean, it's still a big move. It's still going to be around a 10% trade, so that would still provide good upside, but I wouldn't be looking for like 100% trades on this, just because we've already had that strong momentum, and at least trading off standard deviations as support and resistance is kind of harder, and they may be a bit less accurate coming out of a strong pump. One thing we could be looking out for, so those are the key levels as well if you want to quickly screenshot them if that's something you do. But the next thing we'll kind of be looking for is more gaps. If we can get a gap down or up, those will also provide trading opportunities and something usually good to be looking out for. As you'll see with any gap, that's where you get bounces. So here, candle closes here, or the day closes here, we've gapped up to here. We're waiting for this gap to be filled. As soon as it gaps, you get a bounce. In this case, not massive, but did provide a, a 10% bounce, or 12%, or 11.5% bounce, shall I say. So these gap fills, they can provide you enough trades most of the time. So if you just want to keep an eye out on that, if it's not breaking down to this $7 first deviation, which isn't unlikely because that is a far target. So in the meantime, because that's at least personally where I would only trade it if it comes into this 711. So until it kind of comes into that level, I would just be looking for maybe gap trades, gap fill trades. And then we do actually have one here. I don't know how I missed this before. So sorry about that, but yeah, we do actually have a gap fill at 953. So we will most likely continue bearish at least until this level to fill that gap. And what would probably happen off this 950 level is we will most likely get a bounce, maybe not necessarily large, but we'll probably go to at least the next target we have. And looking at standard deviations, that would be around 1050. So it would provide a bit over 10% in a move, and yeah, about $1. So that would provide, yeah, about 10% upside on that trade. So that's it on Tilray. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you in the next one. That's it. Peace.